since 1995-96. A few big names missing from the Olympic team, Milan Blagojevic and, of course, Jason Čulina, two of the big stars of the club. But that is certainly an impressive team. Mehmet Duraković, since he joined the club earlier in this season, making a huge amount of difference to a Sydney Olympic team, which was struggling without key defenders. Adam Chianta out for the season. Kim Ontaliadouros, of course, both to knee injuries. To come back like this, Olympic deserves a lot of credit. And, well, gee whiz, they'll be very, very nervous this afternoon. And I would imagine getting a sense of the nerves down there as we welcome to the commentary team is former Adelaide City great, and he was out there with the legend, Paul Gilabert. Paul, these sides have been focused. We were talking to them an hour or so ago, and at that point they didn't want to talk to television, they didn't want to talk about media, they just wanted to get the kick-off underway, didn't they?
Well, that's right, Greg. I mean, both teams know that a loss here is the end of the game, and I think Adelaide City has got a lot to play with. Had a look at the ground, Greg. There's absolutely no reason this game can't be a great game. It's in perfect condition. So I think we're really in for a great game in the end.
All right, Paul Gilabert, who will be calling all the action from the sidelines. It will be coming thick and fast, I should imagine, in this game with so very, very much on the line as we get prepared to get underway. Eddie Lennie is our match referee, and even Eddie was feeling a tingle of nerves. There he is on screen. Before this one, it's going to be huge. Adelaide City in the black and white stripes, heading from right to left on your screen, and we're underway. 90 minutes for these two teams to decide the season, and well, you can't ask for better than that, can you? Mike Peterson, who joins us in commentary. Mickey, it's just a special day, isn't it?
It's a pleasure to be here, Greg. Really looking forward to it. Adelaide City, a lot of pride at stake today. 10 years of finals football. They don't want to mess up their record, Greg.
They don't want to. You sound a bit nervous yourself. It's hard not to get involved in the spectacle.
Yeah, no, I was a bit touched by the Anzac minute, you know, without being too melodramatic. That's why we're here today, being able to enjoy our freedom and sporting events. So, yeah, it touched me a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great day and a great game in store. Sydney Olympic or Adelaide City go to the playoffs in 98-99. Adelaide City on the move. Murray, the Frogster, loses the run of it. Baillie knocks it away. And Olympic get their first chance to conjure something. It won't be like that. Bombed in the air awkwardly by Travis Dodd. Rainmaker. Ooh. And setting a tone was Scotty Thomas, who played here, of course, at Adelaide City last year. It smacks of cliche, but there will be no holes barred here, Mick, because the season ends if they don't win.
Well, it's 10 months of hard yakka, blood, sweat and tears on the line for this 90 minutes. One would suggest that it's going to be a physical and open encounter. The home team need a result, which is unusual for Adelaide. They normally leave their finals run late, but not this late. They're normally secured in the top six, Greg, by this stage.
Adelaide City have been to the playoffs for the last 9 consecutive seasons, looking to make it a record 10 this year. Peter Zorbas knocks it inside. Oh, the chance was there for Olympic. Brad Emerton scooting.
That was a legitimate chance there, Greg. Probably needed a bit more composure there.
A lovely balance by Emerton. Probably in the end, credit to Travis Dodd.
Yeah, did enough to put him off.
24 degrees was predicted in Adelaide for this final round clash. Free kick that time going against Olympic. Mehmet Duraković on Damian Murray. Adelaide City to the avenue of Brad Hassel. No, it's not. Hassel Taladera for Brad Hassel. Left foot, right foot. Place percentages. Not yet 3 minutes in. It has genuinely been an exciting day already, just mixing it with those legends as we talked about before in the Anzac Day spirit, of course. And now we've got the football game. 90 minutes from glory, and Brett Emerton is away. Drives to the line, Emerton. And finally the contact was made.
He really showed his pace there, Greg. Brett Emerton. He knocked the ball out in front, and Alex Tobin was never going to catch him.
In the end, it was Costanzo to pump the ball over the line, so it's an Olympic ball. The All Blue, they have won only 2 road games all season, Sydney Olympic, as we see a chance again. They've only won 2 road games all year, none of them outside New South Wales. Scotty Thomas. We asked the question of Petkovic, and Jason Petkovic was equal to the task in the shadows of magnificent grandstand, a 3-tiered grandstand here at the Hindmarsh. Olympic soccer venue next year, of course. Petkovic. And again, free kick. That duel between Murray and Duraković. This time it's Duraković.
Greg, I think there are 3 changes from the Adelaide City that played last week against Marconi. I think Zoran has realised that he's got to have a bit of a punt, mix it up a bit. At the moment, though, it's all Sydney Olympic.
Well, they've been good early. I mean, they get the early goal, they get the go-ahead goal. Oh, stretching for it.
They certainly.
Kalantzis, if they get that opening goal, it changes the
equation,
doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Greg. But they haven't come here and to defend. That's very obvious. They've come here to attack. They're not going to sit and be happy with a 0-0.
Costanzo from Taladera. Straight up the middle. Murray was unsure. In the end, runs a wide arc. And Duraković. Olympic get players back. Costanzo from half field now, leaving Ivanovic the only outfield player in the Adelaide half. They're going to turn it over here. Augerinos goes inside. Kalantzis. Cardozo, his old stomping ground. Pablo Cardozo played 3 seasons with the Adelaide Sharks here at Hindmarsh Stadium. Zorbas back. Well, ball control by Sydney Olympic. They certainly have settled better. Duraković speared in. Tobin gets his foot under it. Hassel going nowhere. Scotty Thomas going nowhere. An awkward, rather stilted start by Adelaide City Paul Schillerbeer.
Well, that's what I was about thinking, Greg, that Sydney Olympic have settled much earlier, and Adelaide City just seem to be pumping that ball long, looking for Damian Murray.
Well, here's a chance, though, for Adelaide City. Spinning into the tackle was Terminello. He couldn't get the ball, though, and Olympic come away. Emerton keeps it on the carpet. Tsekenis, the skipper. Oh, boy, Damian Murray was within a whisker of getting away. City have gotten a chance. Hassel, Terminello. Oh, boy! Well, it's all happening up here from nothing. And the giveaway from the skipper. And in the end,
Duraković was the one to get the foot on it, out for a corner.
Well, it's a remarkable start to the game because Adelaide City particularly, but neither side have looked particularly flash. It's like a park game.
I think the nerves will be settling in for a while, Greg.
Corner to Adelaide City, double fist away by George Bouhoutsos. I tell you what, the nerves are getting to me too. Like Peterson, I'm dry mouth. I was anticipating this one all morning, and now I'm here. I'm cracking up as well. This is a beauty.
Well, it was always going to be something, Greg, with the stakes so high. So,
well, it's a goal kick from the Sydney Olympic end. George Bouhoutsos steps into it. Header on by Emerton, shark by Tobin. Again, City awkwardly and in the end give it away. He's got Baillie back for his goalkeeper. Rainmaker again. Coming from the back was Taladera. Tsekenis stood his ground, was brave. Murray will fetch it again. The release was good for Saboyak. And little Nicky, audacious.
another sloppy back pass, Greg, from Sydney Olympic. That time, Kalantzis.
Well, that is 2 or 3 times we've seen the ball turned over in dangerous circumstances. And in the end, Nicky Saboyak, who scored his maiden goal in the finals last year, and what a pearler that was, against Wollongong City from memory, here in the elimination final. Alex Tobin, the Adelaide City captain. Draws it long. Murray's got the drop. Glancing header was good. He had the right idea. Bouhoutsos.
Testing
his
ball there,
eyeballs on it all the way, didn't he?
Yeah, great ball in there by Alex Tobin. Murray probably had another option. Could have taken it on the chest, but opted to go first time. In the end, didn't trouble the keeper.
Well, Murray's had the opportunity well, half chances anyway in the early going. So now that the nerves have settled for the commentary team, we're 8.5 minutes old up here on a hummy to warm Adelaide evening. We've got no score in the match that Sydney Olympic merely have to get away with a point. Olympic have given away 2 goals in each of their last 4 games. I rather doubt that they'd want to give away 2 today. Emerton squeezes it through the gap. No one home for Olympic though. Ivanovic is back, gets the call from Pekovic, sweeps it to safety. Manillo, back header, Murray on his own, keeps it on the ground, well sharked by Thomas. Emerton, toe poke. Olympic good, Zorbas. Tsekenis, the skipper. This is much better by Sydney Olympic. This is the way they bounced out of the blocks to start with. Cardozo can't quite reach it. It's dragged away from the contest by Ivanovic. Out of play, smack on the halfway line. Elias Augerinos with the toss. Kalantzis, double team, coughs it up. Cardozo. Oh, good ball round the corner. Pablo Cardozo. Peter Zorbas wanted to take on Ivanovic. In the end, weight of numbers told against him. Oh, yes. And that will... Pekovic took the back pass.
That's a bizarre situation,
That is a bizarre situation. Oh, golly gosh. And all of a sudden, Jason Pekovic, by his instinctiveness rather than anything else, I mean, what would you do in that situation?
Yeah, he should know better, Greg. He should really, I mean, the rule's been in place for 3 years now. He should just hoof it out of there. Picking it up was
Cardozo and Kalantzis over the free kick.
Put him in all sorts of pressure at the moment, Greg.
Well, what a way to start for Sydney Olympic. 4 unforced errors have cost both teams. This may be the most costly of all. We've not yet ticked over 11 minutes. Kalantzis with a belter straight into a posse, a nest of Adelaide City players. Augerinos, Cardozo, gifted. Emerton.
A rather tame effort in the end, Greg. I probably would have liked a bit more out of that.
Well, both sides, Paul Shillabeer, are suffering clearly, I would think, now from nerves because they are huge mistakes to be making.
Well, that seems to be the only opportunity they're having during the game is when the defending team's making silly mistakes and letting in the opposition. But I think there's some really good matchups here with Travis Scott and Emerton. I think that's going to be one to watch for the whole game.
Kalantzis.
Do you think Dodd can handle Emerton pace, Paul?
Well, Travis is probably one of the quickest players in the Adelaide City team, so I don't think that's going to be. It's whether his inexperience is going to show through.
Well, round 15, or it was round 15 at Belmore. Last time these two clubs met, Sydney Olympic winning by 2 goals to 1. In fact, they've won their last 2 clashes against Adelaide City. They won here in round 21 last year. 1-0 would be enough today. 0-0 would be enough today. The bookies downstairs here at Hindmarsh favouring the draw. That would take Sydney Olympic through to the playoffs. Tobin standing his ground. 404 games and still counting for the veteran. Thomas does well. Heads up by Thomas. Outnumbered. He's going to get the throw as well. Well, you'd like to see that again. Tsekenis. Thoughtful ball. Zorbas. Ivanovic away. Murray on his own again. Up front. Manillo with the loose ball. Nearly played Murray through the gap. And finally, it's Augerinos. Zorbas. Got some pace.
He's looking lively.
Emerton runs the arc. Give off to Augerinos. Chris Kalantzis round the corner. Oh, terrific stuff from Olympic again. The danger is averted by Alex Tobin, the skipper of Adelaide City. 13.5 minutes away. And no score, you saw it up on screen. 403 games from Alex Tobin, who has played in more finals matches than any other player in the history of the competition. And he'll want to add to that tally. Manilo. Hassel scored 15 a couple of years ago, Brad Hassel. He knows where the net is. Gives it away.
Duraković reading the play well.
Oh, that was strength and experience. And Emerton milks it. And Brett Emerton will draw the free kick to Sydney Olympic.
I just want to ask Paul, under the circumstances, Paul, Carle dropped today.
Yeah, I think Carle's form has been a bit down, so it may be the spur that he needs. I would expect to see Carle coming on at some stage during this game, and I think he'd want to put a little bit more effort than he has been in the past.
Maybe had a few problems settling back into Australia, Paul, from his career in England.
Yeah, well, it would have been a big change for him coming from full-time to coming back here, having a look for a job, really, and having to settle back into this style, which is, you imagine, is a lot different.
Murray on his own. He's going to have to battle hard today if he wants a goal. The prolific scoring Damian Murray. Emerton teasing. And in the end, just a little bit too smart that time, Emerton. Manilo hesitated. Zorbas swooped. But they get away with it. Sabliak. Oh, lovely gliding run through to defence. Manilo at the outside of his boot. Was sweet, but not quite sweet enough. Costanzo lopes after it. Lofts the cross in. Oh, dangerous. Away by Juric. Well, Adelaide City have looked perhaps a little more accomplished going forward. But having said that, Olympic have been had their share of opportunities to get there, Paul.
Greg, it seems Olympic are trying to use the width a lot more than Adelaide City at the moment. But looking at the way Adelaide City are playing, with Damian Murray up front on his own, I think they're trying to bring the Olympic defenders forward and then catch them on the break, as we know Damian can actually destroy people with his pace.
The key to the game, Mick Peterson, may well be Adelaide City's ability merely to score the critical goal. They've done it so many... a league low of just 8 goals here this year. It's the best home record in the Ericsson Cup.
Yeah, they've done it so many times too, Greg. They do play a defensive style of game, but they always manage, and like Paul alluded to catching teams on the break with Damian Murray. I can't think of how many times he's done that with his career at Adelaide City.
Well, you reckon they've got the ability, Paul Shillabere? I was just looking through the stats this morning, and Adelaide City's the only team that boasts a 200-goal triple threat like Hassel, Viet and Murray. So they have got the guns.
They certainly have. It's just a matter of case they can get that supply right. But I think Olympic have got to be very careful that they don't get sucked into coming forward and leaving Damian maybe 2-on-1, because 2-on-1 with Damian is not good odds for Olympic.
Paul Shillabere on the sidelines was one of the legends, of course, in the game. And Mickey Peterson, who's joining me in commentary, as a bona fide legend, both on and off the ground. And seen some great battles. We're reminiscing about South Melbourne's great battles against Adelaide City here. Well, Sydney Olympic have got a great battle today.
There's 2 players on the park, Greg, back in the '86 grand final. Kalantzis for Olympic and Tobin for Adelaide City.
Absolutely correct. Turning on the shot was David Terminello. He just didn't get it across the body.
Just didn't get his knee over the ball, Greg, but he certainly hit it with a lot of venom.
Well, it's Brad Hassel, actually.
Brad Hassel. Technique's all important there, Greg. He's really got to concentrate to get the knee over the ball. Otherwise, it just rises and lifts, as you saw.
Now, I'm glad you spotted that, Paul, because I was trying to work out what David Terminello was actually doing.
It's interesting that Sydney Olympic have just started to warm up their substitutes, perhaps to give their players a little bit of more encouragement to put a bit more effort in.
Let's have a look at those benches as well. Mark Yates, Carl Viet and Donkey Kong Kim for Adelaide City. Sydney Olympic, Mark Brennan, Nick Carle and a first gamer, Lee Miot, on the bench for Sydney Olympic. And they are, as we said, there's a few guns out. Blagojevich, Čulina, little Normie Tomei is out as well. as we head to 18.5 minutes and no score, so that favours Sydney Olympic, who only need the draw here this afternoon to go through to the finals.
Greg, I think if you think the players are rather nervous, having a look along the coaching bench, there's quite a few nervous faces along there as well.
It's happening everywhere. Well, Adelaide City had the numbers. In the end, they needed the heroics of Scott Baillie to clear the ball. Oh, trying to force his way through. Great body charge by Thomas there to knock Hassel off the footy. Murray. Terminello spreads it further right. Well, going nowhere fast at the moment, Adelaide City. Back and forth across the country. Angelo Costanzo again launches himself into that one. Top of the penalty box. Away by Juric. Dodd this time. Dance steps against Emerton. He'll have to go against two, and Baillie again. Not afraid to put his body on the line. Just comes across in front of Dodd. It's a throw into Adelaide City. They need the goal. My word, wouldn't that open the game right up? Adelaide City come into this match ranked first overall defensively. Ivanovic really stretched for it, but he was never going to reach it. Dino Manello in his 100th game this afternoon.
This is a strange situation, Paul, for Adelaide City. They haven't really ever been in the situation where they need to score to stay in the finals campaign.
No, it's not. It is unusual. I mean, it's really up to the players. I mean, if they've got the dedication and determination, they're going to have to do it. But Olympic is really standing in their way, and I know which side of the fence I'd rather be on at the moment.
Oh, that was a delightful header by Cardozo. In the end, Kalantzis was outnumbered. Knocked around the body by Hassel. Emerton for Olympic. Suggestion of handball, nothing there. Oh, Thomas again. Well, he's really committed himself to 2 or 3 contests. Scotty Thomas, Paul, against his old club.
Well, I think we all know when you play against your old side, it means a little bit more, and there's a little bit more desperation included in that. But Scotty's he's never going to be out of a tackle, and that's the way it is. But I think it's going to be a great game with a lot of challenges happening within a lot of different combinations here.
Yeah, I think that's what you do like about Scotty Thomas. A lot of players whinge to the referee. He gives you his answer on a more personal level, doesn't he? Hassel. Thomas forcing it through. Kalantzis looks up, waits. Zorbas runs left. He'll elect the option of Zorbas. Might be too long, and just as the idea was right. And
good running off the ball by
great
running off the ball by Zorbas. Unfortunately, Kalantzis couldn't find him, but that's the type of movement that creates chances, Greg. A lot of off the ball running.
Greg, just looking at the defensives, I mean, there are 5 defenders against. We've got Damian Murray and Manillo being the only 2 players up front. I just wonder how long they'll sit with those kind of odds with so many players concentrating on the defensive side of it.
Well, the clock favours Olympic, obviously, because they've already got the result they want. And the longer the game goes on, the more committed to getting that goal that they need. Adelaide City surely will have to be. So, I mean, it's an intriguing chess game. Physically taxing, but a chess game nevertheless. And of course, Paul Shillabit out here on the sidelines will be drilling the coaches. Another physical contest involving Thomas. That time, I think it was against Terminello. I got him right that time.
I think, Paul, Olympic probably feel that they can attack with just 2 to 3 players in the likes of Kalantzis and Cardozo, pace of Everton.
Well, that's right. I mean, you're looking at 3 fairly good players, accomplished players up front, and mind you, having said that, the Adelaide City defence is fairly strong. I'm just looking at the bench here, and Kim's actually warming up as well. So whether they're thinking making a tactical change early on, we'll wait and see.
It's very obvious from up here in the commentary box that Adelaide City have got the numbers in midfield, and Sydney Olympic is stacking the defence.
Yeah, well, you've got so many players in defence, you've got to give away ground somewhere, and that may be very dangerous, because if the midfield can get in control here with Damian Speed, he's only got to find that yard and he's going to be away.
And he only needs 1 decent ball.
Oh, handball, that was pretty clear. No call is given in the Adelaide crowd. God love them, that revved them up a bit. It looked like a handball from here. We'll wait for...
Definite handball, Greg, but accidental.
Well, it doesn't matter. That thin blue line separating Adelaide City from a goal. Successful again in staving off the end. Cardozo swings at that one. Thomas making a run down the right. Faced by Jovanovic. Edge of the penalty area. Well, Scotty fancies himself there. Gets the cross in too deep. Is it? Yes, it is. Because Kalantzis throws up his hands in despair. We'll just have a look at that. Just well, that was well, fair dinkum.
Oh, as an old defender, Greg, that always happens. You can't help those types of things.
Yes, yeah, it's a natural running action with your arms flailing out in front of you like that, isn't it, Bill? Goodness gracious me. Oh, well. Eddie Lennie, the man in charge, and I'm not spotlighting Eddie because of that previous decision.
You probably wish the referees would just be consistent with unintentional handballs. Sometimes I give them, sometimes I don't.
Well, if it was a boxing match, it's not really a slugfest yet. They're just testing each other, jabs and counter punches.
The longer this game goes on, obviously the more pressure Adelaide City are going to have to pushing players forward, which is, with the, as we said, with the forward line that's in the Olympic Scots, may open up a lot of opportunities for them to really play on that in the end.
Well, that's it, isn't it, Paul? I mean, without even kicking a ball in anger, they've already got the result they want.
Paul, Zorbas never entertained the idea of having three-pronged attack?
Well, you never know with Zoran's mind what he's going to do. I mean, he's obviously thought of a way to get in, but at the moment I think he'd probably be trying to draw the defence out to leave them, you know, maybe 1 or 2 against Damian, but I really don't think Sydney Olympic are going to fall for that trick.
Adelaide City have won just 2 of their last 10 games. 10 games ago they were 4th and a couple of games clear in the top 6. They're one of the great choking acts of all time if they give it up, particularly here at home. Bombed downfield by Petkovic. Loose pickings there for Manillo. Oh, well, it is getting a bit willing. Well, it started willing, it's just a little more so. That time it was Baillie and Terminillo, and it will be an Olympic free kick. Have a look at that one, Mickey.
Yeah, it was late, and a bit of frustration.
So, Sydney Olympic again.
The fluency that normally prevails with Adelaide City's football isn't there at the moment, which I'm a bit surprised about.
I think perhaps the stakes of the game are pretty high for both of them. It has not been a marvellous, rollicking, frolicking football affair. Plenty of time. The sun unravels. It's down in the trenches time, really. Last game of the season with everything on the line. Zorbas. He's got the Ponderosa to move in out there. He'll go against Taladera. Look for the options. Cardozo, the give and go, not quite there. Costanzo. Cross country for Thomas. Time he gave it away. He won't enjoy that. Wins it back with a toe in. Emerton for Thomas. Held up. And that time, Travis Dodd was doing the work on Scotty Thomas, who certainly had not a telling effect. He's making his presence felt out there. Former Newcastle Breakers, and it was last year he was here at Adelaide City. Adelaide City finished 5th last year. It was their worst finish in a decade. This year they face missing the playoffs altogether, which, golly gosh, it's unheard of. Pablo Cardozo to take the corner. He was red hot earlier this year, Cardozo. He's the league's leading scorer. Outswinger, very deep.
Paul, what's the mail on young Lewis Brain? Why isn't he out there today?
Well, from what I understand, he's actually leaving and left this afternoon at 2 o'clock from the report I heard in the paper this morning.
Because I know he's only been in the team for the last 4 or 5 games, but he added a lot of mobility.
You're absolutely right, Paul. He did leave this morning.
Yeah, I think he's been picked in one of the Australian representative teams, and that left at 2 o'clock this afternoon to travel to Tahiti.
With the agreement, to Tahiti is correct, with the support, I might just add, of Zoran Matic, who told Les Shines, look, that young Louis he felt that his career could only be...
Well, that's commendable, Greg, when you think about the stakes that, Zorbas, the last thing you need players you're coming and going and a disruption in the team. So
speaks volumes for the man, doesn't it? Oh, boy. Well, Kalantzis went reeling away after the play. Nothing called. Zorbas, good ball. But again, not quite on the money. Kalantzis with his long locks. Just let's have a look, Becky. Anything in this?
Oh, Alex Tobin is...
oh, not an AFI, mate, but hugely a nomination, I'm sure. Well done, Chris Kalantzis.
I think he stood on his foot, actually, but big Alex with his boats. He can hurt you.
Well, it has not. Oh, he'll tattoo you, that fellow. Don't worry about that. Costanzo spots the only free man in Hassel. Let's see it again. Show us how it's done, Chrissy. Yep, a Land Rover. Just collected him on the way through.
I think Chris has played a few too many years in Greece.
As you mentioned, well, Chris Kalantzis, in fact, you can trace his lineage back to the '84 Grand Final against South Melbourne. Kalantzis, one of the veterans. There he is, Spring Heel Jack. That's a big day for him. Oh, Bouhoutsos with a big collect over the pack.
Well taken.
Well, he had to make the call and commit himself, and in the end, he took a well. Bouhoutsos, who was not first choice at the start of the year, behind Jimmy Curtis.
Just on Chris Kalantzis, Greg, it might be worth mentioning he's had a stellar career in Greece, played for two of the big clubs.
Just have a look at Bouhoutsos again. That was spectacular, wasn't it?
He's taken that really well.
Costanzo long, Murray with the glancing back header. Nothing doing. The Adelaide crowd a little muted, I think. Expectations are very, very high here. Termination from Terminello did well. One out on the day. Travis Dodd with a spinning top, the ball out of play, or get the throw. Takes it quickly back for Tobin. We've crossed the half-hour mark. Still scoreless. Last round of the season. Winner goes another week down the road toward the Ericsson Championship, the Championship of Australia. And the loser walks out of here with a lot of thinking to do. Zorbas during the week saying that he believed that it was time for a few changes to the makeup of the senior squad here at Adelaide. Kalantzis against Ivanovic. And Kalantzis almost went out. Good support though by Costanzo. Relieves the pressure for Adelaide City, and here they come. The crowd rises. Manillo in his 100th game. Oh, Dino, that's not what we wanted.
That's what Paul Shillaby is talking about. If the service is good there, Murray's on his way. Just on Sydney Olympic, Greg, there's an expectation on them this year too. They became privately owned, they got the checkbook out, spent a lot of money, and the expectation's there to make the finals.
Sydney Olympic have won 9 of their 35 matches in Adelaide all time. It's against the Sharks and Adelaide City, mostly at this venue. As we said earlier, in that rather hectic opening to the game, they have not won outside of New South Wales this season. Not a good travelling team. Their 2 road wins were at Northern Spirit in round 1 and at Canberra. Adelaide City have not lost here since round 1.
Greg, I think we're about to see a change being made with Kim coming on, and it looks like number 15 for Adelaide City, Travis Dodd, has been coming changing.
It's Adelaide City manoeuvre ever so carefully into the front third, only to be wasted, only to be turned over. Dodd with a belter, didn't get over it, but
that could be his last
kick. Half chance was on.
Could be his last kick for the game, Greg. Obviously, Zorbas not happy with the proceedings, and realises that time is of the essence and making a change.
And it appears they will go to the change. We'll go down to Paul Shillaby to check.
Yes, certainly Travis Dodd coming off. I'm just wondering why and the reason for making that. It's perhaps Travis wasn't getting forward enough with the opportunity of the space, but it's obviously a tactical change because there's nothing wrong with Travis at this stage.
And you were right, Mickey P. It was his last touch of the footy for the game.
Yeah, he hasn't had a bad game either, and Paul said it's a tactical change, it's a balance thing.
So Travis Dodd, he hasn't seen much football this year, oh boy. Well, they're calling for it. Play goes on! Goalkeeper had to do well. Around the body by Hassel, in the air, I think it was Duraković. Oh boy. Well, that will set the adrenaline coursing and the blood pumping for the Adelaide City fans who are not used to missing out on the playoff action. Let's see this unravel again. Claims of a penalty, nothing in that one.
But good defending here, scrambling. It's Mehmet Duraković again. He's made a career out of goal line scrambles.
Corner to Adelaide City deep. Murray's the only man back, stands his ground. Turned upfield. Augerinos didn't get a clean hit at it. First touch now for Kim, I think it is. It is Kim. Into the penalty area. Oh, turning on it was Manillo. Couldn't hit it cleanly. Handball, says Kalantzis, as he tried to launch it clear, and all of a sudden the pressure on Sydney Olympic. There's Dino Manillo, 100 up for the tank. Dino Manillo. Costanzo. They've got the numbers forward. Baillie away. Ball takes a Shane Warne bounce. Hassel back for Ivanovic. And now you can feel the enthusiasm sweeping through the stadium as the Adelaide supporters see their club warming to the task. They've got to win here. Nothing else matters. Up in the air by Taladera, and he wasted that one. He wasted that one, Carle. He'll know it too.
You can hear it from the crowd. It's pressure football at its finest, Greg.
There is a...
probably not the greatest game from a purist point of view, like you said earlier.
You just get the feel, I mean, there is a palpable upping of tempo for Adelaide City. They're starting to work their way into the contest. They looked awful early. Manillo with the chase on Bouhoutsos, who was very brave. He span in the air as Manillo challenged him. They both came out a little bit the worse of the wear, but Dino Manillo
thought he was a little bit late there, Greg, Manillo, on the challenge, and he's hurt himself in the process.
Well,
it was always 70-30, 80-20 Bouhoutsos' ball. He's gone the hip and shoulder, come off second best.
Well, I suppose in this sort of a forum, though, you're going to expect them to...
Bodies on the line.
Well, that's the way it is. It sounds cliched, but as we said before, I mean, just in that 1 hour or so when we were in the ground and watching the build-up, you could just sense that today it was just going to be no holds barred, which to all of intents and purposes it is. Swap. Dencher back in. That's the way. Cardozo in his own backfield to wrestle to the line, and the resounding applause as Adelaide City earn the throw-in. Kim hesitates. Manillo is the option. Shields the ball from one. Got pressure from two. Dino will earn the free kick for Adelaide City with about, well, less than 8 minutes of regulation time remaining in the first half. Adelaide City have been in the top 6 for 20 of this season's 29 weeks. There it is again.
Greg, it's really interesting. Branko has just asked Peter Tsekenis to soften that hole just in front of the defenders, because obviously they're very scared of that situation where Peter's getting caught in front, and of course the midfield's been able to run at them. So he's made that very clear to Tsekenis to actually stay exactly where he wants him to.
Hassel launches it. The run from Costanzo was spectacular but unsuccessful as Kim launches a missile. That was a venomous, punishing left footer from Donkey Kong Kim.
Struck it well. Whoosh! What tactically has Zoran done, Paul? Where's Kim playing? And
he's really only made a straight swap with Kim just playing the left full back with where Travis Dodd was before. So there's nothing really changed. He's just obviously looking for a little bit more down from this side of the ground.
And another hit, and I think that was the get back. Peter Tsekenis having a word with Eddie Lennie as he writes it down in the book. That was the evener-upper, I think.
As this game goes on, I probably expect a lot more of that type of tackling and desperation to come into it. So I think we're going to see that yellow card come out quite a lot more before the end of the game.
Tobin. Low and hard to the edge of the penalty area. Easy away by Augerinos. Ivanovic throws himself into that one. Long and high again. Zorbas with the header down. Hassel can't control it. Break could be on for Olympic. Emerton sees the option. Olympic are away. They haven't got the numbers forward perhaps that they'd like. Kalantzis. Predictable in the end. And the turnover, no. Thanks to the courage of Tsekenis. They win it back, Olympic. 3 against 1, the 3 went out. Kim working out of his own penalty area now for Manillo. So, no goals in a game. The clock and the scoreboard favour Sydney Olympic. Scoreless draw is enough to see them through. Ivanovic, oops, a daisy. Cardozo got a leg to it, but it's spun the right way then. Kim into vacant lot. Juric away. Goes right to left. And that was a little bit lame in the end. It must be said too that unseasonably warm conditions, as we see the 40-minute time check, 0-0, which attacks the players a bit. It was very warm, sunshine was brilliant. It will sap your strength. Tsekenis. Emerton. Thomas. He got the angle to keep it in play. There were no teammates.
There was no movement for him. Greg?
Not a thing. Scott Thomas, well, he has had a telling effect on this first half. Thomas probably setting the tone of the game, really. Zorbas didn't want to dwell too long. Taladir has stayed with him. Juric pops it in the air. Ivanovic is there. Well, somebody made the call, sucked in banana skin, the ball went loose, and now it's a free kick. Tobin against Pablo Cardozo.
Alex Tobin really does wear you like a glove, Greg. He's one of the best centre-backs going around for the last 15 years.
We're not retiring him today, Mickey.
I'm stating the obvious.
Baillie goes long. Costanzo had to arch his back to reach it with the header. They're measuring it now. Adelaide City toward half-time. Tsekenis stands alone. Kalantzis sweeps it in, looking for a runner. Nothing doing. Tobin. Hassel Tobin again. This time it's Kim down the left-hand side. Fresh into the game. Good ball on the money for Murray. Going nowhere. Thomas robbed. Brilliant by Hassel, but in the end,
disappointing cross. Did well to win the ball there, but
swept it in blindly, and there was nothing happening for him. Bouhoutsos. So it's Olympic on the charge before half-time. Oh, that was a bit lame, but anyway. It will be an Olympic ball. Tsekenis and Sabliak locked in combat.
Olympia would have to be fairly happy with the way the game's flowing at the moment. They really haven't been seriously threatened apart from a few things outside the box. Whereas Adelaide City is still pushing to try and make something happen.
I think you're spot on, but I mean that was going to be the case, wasn't it, from the start? Adelaide City do, after 2 or 3 weeks where they've probably looked a little tentative in their games. Now they have to make the pace, now they have to make it happen. And, well, as we said again, unless they do in the next 47 or so minutes, they will break a run of 9 years in the playoffs. Jovanovic. Tobin. And Bouhoutsos is there again.
Greg, I got some updated scores from other games. Wollongong Perth 1-1. Marconi 1-0 up on Northern Spirit. Brisbane 1-0 up on Newcastle. Sydney United 2-0 up on Adelaide Sharks. And Melbourne Knights 2-1 against Carlton.
Well, I guess the critical one there, Sydney United against the Adelaide Sharks with a victory there. They win the minor premiership and assure themselves with a double chance. So that is one of the more significant of those progress scores. Emerton, the big boy, he reaches it. Does well, settles, dwells, looks, cross was, well, the trajectory was good because there were 3 men in Kalantzis, but Costanzo watched it and read it perfectly. In the end, he was faced with very few options.
Yeah, he had to play safe there.
So it's a corner to Sydney Olympic. A goal right on the cusp of half-time would do their cause no end of good. That would leave Adelaide City with the chore of getting 2 in the second half. Cardozo with the corner. The grandstand being built. Oh boy, just for a minute.
Whipped it in nicely, but Jason Petkovic has had an outstanding season. He's taken that.
Just for a minute there, visions of Petka dropping it. Perhaps he was just making sure with his second grab. Olympic again, forcing it before half-time. Augerinos, steal by Tobin. Swept back in for Tsekenis. Well, they don't have to approach the game frenetically, Sydney Olympic. They get measured. Oh, that was terrific by Murray to force it through 2 defenders. He ran it as far as he could. He was about to be swapped. Murray doing the hard work. Manillo slides in. Cardozo cool in the oh, brilliant. Pablo Cardozo back on his old home ground. Cardozo, he hasn't got the legs, has he? He looked to be struggling a little bit as he tried to outpace Manillo and Costanzo, but it was great work at half field in the first place. Manillo has a talk to Eddie Lennie. Throwing short. Kalantzis again. Crash tackle, and it'll be Olympics ball again. We are into stoppage time in this first half. Round 30. Ericsson Cup. Last home and away game of the season. Olympic needs a draw or a win to make the top 6. Adelaide City here at home have to win. Set piece again, coming via Pablo Cardozo. Difficult one for the goalkeeper. Emerton is up, and Murray finally heading it out of his own 6-yard area. Zorbas for Olympic. Strikes it back in, and again Petkovic, the equal of it. He's got the chance to release Terminello. And finally, Eddie Lennie brings an end to this first half, which in the pure footballing senses has not reached any great heights. In fact, for 2 sides perhaps aspiring to go to the playoffs, it's been a little ugly. But then Sydney Olympic, well, look at that scoreline. There's nothing ugly about it for them. They're 45 minutes away from going to the finals, and Adelaide City have 45 minutes to make it 10 years in a row. We'll be back in just a moment to look at all the first half action. Join us, won't you? And welcome back to the Hindmarsh Stadium. The sing out of that afternoon sunshine now here at the home of the Code here in the city of Churches. Dino Manillo, 100 games. Damian Murray, well, he's scored career, well, from memory, 125 goals, give or take 1 or 2. He needs one today. Carle Taladera went to Gippsland, went to Collingwood, but he's back at Adelaide City where he featured in 2 grand finals. Mehmet Duraković on screen. Well, he's been to the mountaintop with South Melbourne once before. Went to Malaysia, now back here with Sydney Olympic. He's got a chance of perhaps going to the finals again. Ante Juric there. Jason Pekovic. 152 marvellous games. Second half underway. Eddie Lennie in charge. Tina Turner being muted finally. And Sydney Olympic need only this result and they're there. Emerton rides the tackle. But in the end, matching him stride for stride was Taladera. Came away for Adelaide City. Bombed high into the arc lights. Terminello. Well, Eddie Lennie making the call as it goes out of play. There must be a football there somewhere. They'll have to get a new one. As you can see, top right, a picture there where the refurbishments are happening, of course, with the grandstands. It's going to be a terrific, well, it's a terrific stadium already. It's got a great history about it. It's going to be fantastic when it's completed. Cardozo tried to swing it in for Zorbas, who might come up with it quite by accident. Peter Zorbas running adjacent to the goal mouth, hassled out of it by 2. Tsekenis, wide for Augerinos. He gave it away for Stanzo, upended in the end was Nicky Sabliak. It's going to be an Adelaide City ball from the sideline. Why don't we go to the sideline now? Well, we'll just see what unravels here first of all. Not a lot. Second chance though for Terminello. Assall spears it wide left for Kim, who's been good since he came on. Searching for Bouhoutsos, and in the end he just has to slap it over the target zone. Corner to Adelaide City. That is the way to start the second half for a team that has to score now. Corner, Dino Manillo enters across. She had a real look in his eye, Dino Manillo, just then. He knows how important this game is. And Bouhoutsos takes it cleanly. Let's go down to the sideline. Adelaide City assistant coach Joey Mullen with a former teammate, of course, our own Paul Schillerbeer. Paul?
Yeah, thanks very much, Greg. Listen, Joe, you're obviously going to have to make some changes in the second half. What does Zoran have to say at half-time?
Actually, don't thank me, fellas. Don't thank me. We've got to go with this because Emerton, gorgeous work by Cardozo. I'm sorry, Joe Mullen, but my jolly word, all of a sudden, Joe Mullen's world nearly fell apart. Back to you, Paul.
Yeah, so Joe, obviously you're going to have to make some changes. What does Zoran ask you to do?
Well, first of all, we know we have to score a goal. I mean, that's the most important thing. We've got to get bodies forward. We've got to start looking more adventurous when we're on the ball and starting to take players on. They're playing very disciplined at the back. In fact, all through the midfield as well. They're getting men behind the ball very quickly, and it's making our job a lot harder. But ultimately, we have to score. We've got to throw bodies forward, and as the game goes on, we'll be taking more risks, no doubt.
All right, Paul and Joe Mullen downstairs there. We'll stay with the action because I know the benches, of course, they'll be preoccupied with events there on the field. Ball turned over. Then the back half for Sydney Olympic. This is dangerous. Manillo. Did it come off?
It's a corner, Greg.
Player. It is a corner, so 2 in a matter of 90 seconds for Adelaide City, and this is a lot better from them.
Well, they're bringing up the tall timber, Greg. Alex Tobin has made a name for himself a few times, poking in a few headers. And if they ever need it, they need it now.
45 minutes has now become 42. So the time window closing on Adelaide City. Taladera pokes it in. Kalantzis put away from the red zone. Costanzo swings it for Sabliak. That's charged down. Well done, Kalantzis. They might come up with the loose ball. They do. Cardozo. He's got Kalantzis left, or Emerton, as you see on screen, right. Exchange with Thomas. Emerton nowhere to go. Pounded back toward half field. Zorbas turns it upfield. Kim with the intercept. Dino Manillo was great. For Murray, he growls, he purrs when he gets a free run on goal. He couldn't then. Manillo swings it in. Trying to bury it. Dino with his left foot. Oh,
that's better from Adelaide City.
That is much better from Adelaide City. Well, that tells you the way they're going to approach this second half. Murray has not had one chance to wind up ahead of steam, but a good release you see, and Manillo drives that in. just wide of the mark. So it's still scoreless. Sydney Olympic needs only the draw to get through here. And I tell you what, for all the Sydney Olympic supporters watching, and I'm sure there are many, many of them, they're only about 40 minutes away from the finals. Let's go down to the sideline where we've got Paul Schillerbeer and Peter Zorbas, who is, of course, the assistant coach of Sydney Olympic.
Yeah, John, obviously you'd be fairly happy with the way things are going at the moment. You've got the results you need. Do you think there's any tactical changes you had to make at half-time?
Well, I think in the first half we saw from Zoran that he made the tactical changes when he made that sub. Emo made a few inroads on the right. I don't think we have to change anything as long as we don't concede a goal.
Can I ask John, and I apologise because I was thinking Peter Zorbas, who's out at Everton.
Yes,
John,
Greg.
Sorry about that, mate. Listen, what was the instruction? Because you know Adelaide City are going to be fired up for this one. What were the instructions? Well,
we changed our pattern a little bit. I mean, we need to draw, Greg. We don't have to do more than that. We're trying to catch them on the break. It's up to Adelaide. They've got to make the next move.
All right, thanks for that. Johnny sent us, and I do apologise. I called him Peter Zorbas, but they're all for this.
Yeah, he's Greg. It's all right, Greg.
It's all part of the Sydney Olympic grand plan. One wouldn't work without the other. There's the wall. Trepidation on the faces as Cardozo rips that one in like a sidewinder missile. It was going away from Pekovic, but he swept it up at about knee height, so it's still scoreless. Psychologically, the longer Adelaide City go on without breaking the drought, it just makes every half chance all that much more important. No legs left for Damian Murray under that challenge. So it's a free kick to Adelaide City. They've had a lot of ball in their attacking half in the first 6 3/4 minutes since half time. Costanzo, he didn't hit it as sweetly as he might have. Cardozo looks and goes. Emerton. Well, they were pretty spot on with that. Ball and Emerton met at the same time, but Pekovic was the X factor in the equation, and he clears it.
Greg, I can see that Carle Vildt's warming up, so as we thought, we'll see an introduction of Carle fairly soon.
Well, Sydney Olympic have never ever won a final round match on the road. There's Carle Vild on screen.
One would imagine, Greg, he'll be introduced very shortly.
Well, he has scored in excess of 50 goals in the Ericsson Cup. Carle Vild. He's got a strike rate of 1 goal in about every 3 games he plays. Nicky Savelyak. Well, he was looking up to see what he was doing before he even controlled the football then.
I saw Carle Vild 3 weeks ago against South Melbourne, and Adelaide City looked dead and buried, but Carle Vild popped up for the equaliser. He's comfortable scoring. And it was Vild, the creator of a couple of goals here in that critical 3-0 win over Brisbane also. So they're just not going to break down Olympic easily, are they? Emerton. Emerton swings through the gate, the big man. Emerton backs himself. Tackle from Ivanovic was called okay. And a couple of Emerton's teammates just having a word to him behind play about the fact that he wanted to do it on his own. He had an opportunity to offload. He chose to go it alone and got dispossessed. I thought it was a free kick, actually. It was a late tackle.
Well, interesting. The two coaches, Zoran Madic and Branko Čulina, of course, of Sydney Olympic, they're the two most experienced coaches currently going around in the competition. Zoran with 350-plus games. Branko, of course, with 150-plus. The interesting one, whilst their head-to-head record as coaches is pretty even, Čulina, when he was coach of Sydney United, coached them to a 7-0 win over Madic's Collingwood, and it's still a sore point with Zoran. That's his worst coaching defeat. Thomas scoots through midfield. That's a good ball for Brett Emerton. The long striding Emerton. But in the end, Ivanovic trundling along in his shadow. Tucked out the left foot, concedes the corner. So
I think John Santos was on the money when he said Adelaide are the ones who have to come up with something, Greg, and I think Sydney Olympic thus far has played the contest very well.
So it's a corner to Sydney Olympic. A goal here, and I'd have to call for the doctor, I think, for Adelaide City from here. Augerinos couldn't get the angle on the cross. And Paul Chilabert down on the sideline. Whilst as a contest one out, it's been average to poor, I would suggest. But having said that, the whole time there's just been this air of tension that is marked, isn't it, really?
Well, for these two teams, Greg, I mean, this is their first of their finals games. It's nothing different from that, because, I mean, they both know they have to get through this game to go further. So it really is, the pressure is there, and it's scrappy, and it's not really very free-flowing, but you wouldn't really expect a lot more. Maybe a goal is going to change this game.
Thomas launches one. Kalantzis does it well in the end. Chris Kalantzis. Emerton back to reach the header. Kim is there. Ball wasn't out of play. Swings upfield. Murray slips. Could get the jump though. He's got some legs about him, Damian Murray. Not on that occasion though.
Duraković showing very experienced player. Certified champion, Mehmet Duraković. You failed to mention he won a championship at Brunswick.
At Brunswick with you as well, Mick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look, he went over. He's a player who makes a difference, Greg. He went to Malaysia, won 3 championships there. He's won 2 championships in Australia. Played in the national team. Just a superb performer.
Adelaide City have conceded a league low 8 goals here at home. They've conceded a league low 9 second half goals all year. But that's of no use to them whatsoever, because all of a sudden they have to rely on their attacking prowess to win the day. Savalier scurries toward midfield. It's one high in the sky. That'll be awkward. Murray did well just to stay in the contest in the end. Duraković held his ground and pummeled away to safety by Ante Juric. Go by Savalier. A little bit easy in the end by Olympic to force it clear. Costanzo round the body. Ivanovic. He won't reach his 300 this year unless Adelaide City go all the way to the grand final. He's on 295. Tobin, he's on 403. Olympic again, come up trumps in the back half, and the free kick called, I think it was against Angelo Costanzo.
It's very obvious, Greg, that Adelaide City aren't comfortable with these set of circumstances at present.
Fairly tame looking free kick though on the replay. Lennie, the man in charge tonight of this, well, pre-elimination final, elimination final. But the draw, of course, as we said before, favours Sydney Olympic. The game, the time window, let's have a look. 13.5 minutes away in this second half.
Greg, you're a wonderful stats man. When's the last time Adelaide City didn't score at home?
Look, I'll get back to you on that one. I'll have to have a look, because at the moment the action is there with Donkey Kong. Kim scoots past the defence, searching, cross, too long. No, Costanzo's there. Pressure comes. Costanzo tries the hip fake, nothing happening. Costanzo goes again. Augerinos, he just was biding his time, waiting for the chance to bite, and he did it appropriate moment as the push and shove sends Nicky Savalier into the turf. But he hasn't seen much footy this year either, Savalier. There it is. Free kick again. Hello, back for Ivanovic. And all bar Jason Pekovic now in Sydney Olympics half.
Maybe I would ask Paul about that. When's the last time, Paul, you've played at Adelaide City? Not very often. they never scored at Hindmarsh.
No, there aren't too many occasions like that. This year, I think there's been a few games they've lost by 1-0, which is unusual again. But I don't know. I still think there's going to be a goal somewhere in this game where they'll lighten it up, and I'm certainly hoping there will be one way or the other.
Yeah, well, they did lose that opening home game here against Perth. And in fact, the last time they failed to score here, Mick, was only 2 home games ago against the Gippsland Falcons. That was scoreless. Again, as I said earlier on, Adelaide City have not scored more than 1 or conceded more than 1 in their last 5 or 6 games. So we're not looking at a shootout by any means. Mehmet Duraković on screen. Draws breath, hands on hips. Deliberates. It's Tobin. Sets the missile in motion. Great set piece in the end. Nearly paid off as Kim weaved his way through bodies. Going nowhere was Kalantzis here. They come again. Tobin getting forward. High and long. The leaper is Sabliak. Kalantzis was with him.
When you got Alex Tobin in the left wing position, crossing balls.
I could believe it. Most uncut. Well, that tells the story, doesn't it, of Adelaide City. All of a sudden, they've pressed the fast forward button. Sabliak corner. If Sydney Olympic can sit tight through this pressure, they deserve to be in the finals. Here's Carle. Looks up. 3 on 3. Cardozo's got the options. Oh, Kim. Lovely body check. Ball reefed loose. And he stroked it to a teammate in Terminello. 4 passes strung across the back half, and Adelaide City come up again. That was marvellous then by Kim, because
could have been trouble, Greg.
Could have been big trouble. Now they get the chance to conjure something again. Adelaide City, my word, they need something. Woof! Ambitious stuff from Nicky Sabliak, and he scored from nearly that distance against Wollongong in the elimination final last year. So I suppose it's worth a pop. Well, anything is at this stage, Paul Schillebeer, isn't it? As we watch Sabliak's shot going over the target.
That's right. I mean, but I think that's the frustration the Olympics defence is putting on the Adelaide City team, that they're having to shoot from so far away. So you've got to give credit to Mehmet Duraković and the rest of his players, because they really have got Adelaide City struggling.
Oh, by more good luck than good fortune, Olympic, rather Adelaide City were through. Terminello looked as if he had a run. Oh, Kalantzis with the round arm shoulder drag, as they say in the WWF. And he puts Costanzo on the carpet. They'll get the free kick. There it is. Around the neck, just checking out his collar. Saladira. Wonder, you've really got to wonder on the basis of what we're seeing, where something is going to come from Adelaide City.
Well, the way I see it, Greg, set pieces are always dangerous when you're having a game like this.
In the air, Costanzo, goalkeeper, reaches and stretches, it goes to ground. The Adelaide player, I think it was Manillo, he's still down on the deck. Scotty Thomas comes up with it.
Bouhoutsos has had an excellent game.
Oh, he has, hasn't he? Little give for Emerton, he's fouled, no free kick. Whoa! Well, he's letting it go, Eddie Lennie. He set the tone for the game. He's letting it go. Let the boys be boys. And a free kick, Sabliak just tapped, and he goes to ground. Despairing look you saw from Peter Zorbas a minute ago. Look at Bouhoutsos, reaches.
He's negated everything, Bouhoutsos. But situations like this, Greg, I believe Adelaide City can get something. Dead ball situations, crosses.
Got to conjure something now. 1-0, and Adelaide City go to the playoffs. 0-0, and that's the way George Bouhoutsos wants to keep it. And Olympic are there. Murray, pile driver, no. And they mixed up the semaphore signals, or they.
It wasn't a bad idea, Greg. It's just that
great idea, but the timing was way off.
Timing was well out of sync there. I believe Murray was going to have a strike there.
I did too. And so the frustration and the tension builds as far as Adelaide City are concerned. And you would have to look at someone like this, Dino Manillo, on screen. Well, he'll keep the battle up till the final whistle. Oh, Alex Tobin. But you would have to look at Mehmet Duraković, surely. I think Paul Spera's MVP at the moment.
Well, he has. He's controlled everything. And I mean, if anything's got past the defenders on the line, who's been there?
The time check on this one, we're about 25 minutes of the regular season remaining. Not just this game, whole season on the line for two football clubs, two of the original members. The national competition, oh, in the end, it was left to Scott Baillie, and he hasn't even given away the corner. And you could hear the squeals. It was like a Beatles concert from the youngers in the crowd. As in the end, Augerinos, I think, forced it away. There's the throw, long and high, back header. Duraković is the man there. Sidestep by Kim is good. Sabliak tried to turn on it, but you know where his mind was. Ball with a backspin, it'll stay in play. Ivanovic there, back first time. Oh, away from physical danger. Swung Terminello, the ball didn't stay with him. Brilliant, Emerton, Kalantzis, Cardozo, man outside Zorbas, Emerton powering away to the left. A release for Zorbas, critical for Olympic. And in the end, Kim chasing back. It just took a bobble under the body of the diving Kim. Oh, listen to that. As the roar, a menacing roar, rolls down the Hindmarsh Stadium as the Adelaide supporters realise that everything's on the line. This is just, for a pretty average footy game, Mick Peterson, heck, you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be anywhere else, would you?
No, it's the tension is certainly compounding as time ticks by.
But Adelaide City, they have built a dynasty of success here at Adelaide City, and Sydney Olympic might be about this is in 10 years of domination, but it ain't over yet. Manillo's going to get the free kick. Scragging and scruffing was,
well, this is where
Baillie.
I think Sydney Olympic can come unstuck in situations like this. They're playing well in free play because they're causing bottlenecks. Adelaide City can't break them down, but on set pieces, it's a different ball game.
Manillo. Well, he caught. The free kick was terrific. Bouhoutsos knew nothing about it, but there was no one to punish Olympic. And in the end, they buy another life. Watch it, because George Bouhoutsos had a marvellous game, mind.
He has. He was happy to see that swing past him.
He just wasn't... and Lennie, maybe the call for trying to milk the clock a bit. Good on you, Eddie. Lennie, that's a good call under the circumstances, if that's what he's doing. Because you want to see it played out on the footy field. Costanzo, Tsekenis down, Costanzo again, knocks it blindly in the air. Great leap in the end by Juric to save it. Sabliak comes up, launches again. Nicky Sabliak, he's got a powerful shot and a powerful cross then, but in the end, to his detriment, because it went too long, and Bouhoutsos gets the take. Where's the danger going to come from if the game's going to turn, Paul Schillerbeer?
I think, as we saw a couple of minutes ago, the Olympic had their first chance in a break. I think we're going to see a lot more of that as well, because Adelaide City have to push forward now. They have to make sure they can get a goal from somewhere. So Kalantzis and you can see Cardozo are not really following up too much. So I think we're going to see a few breaks. But Adelaide City are certainly putting a lot more pressure on the Olympic defence at the moment.
Adelaide City has been, as we said, as we've laboured the point, been to the playoffs every year for the last 9, but they have got a curious penchant for giving it up. They lost in the last round here against bottom team Preston. Back in '92, they lost at Gippsland, who were at the foot of the ladder in the last round and missed the double chance last year. They lost here against Sydney United a couple of years ago when the double chance was on the line.
Yeah, but I still think they're looking a better team at the moment. They certainly look a lot more composed than Adelaide City. Adelaide City are really just trying to make something happen without a hell of a lot of happening. And as we can see here, Eddie Lennie's had enough of any dives and so forth, so it looks like he's given Pablo Cardozo a yellow card.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see. It's good to see. There have been moments in this football match, the Adelaide City faithful have risen in expectation. It's been a roar about the stadium, but the rest of the time it's a white-knuckle ride for most of the Adelaide City supporters, as I guess it is, Mick, for the Olympic fans who are watching on up in Sydney. They'll just be hoping that the remaining 20 minutes are as successful as the opening 70 have been. 0-0, the scoreline that Olympic need to send them through to the finals. Hassel had to wait. Oh, gets it through the gap. Good off by Murray. Offside flag was up early. Offside flag was up early. The fans don't know it because the linesman on the near side, you cannot almost see him from the cantilever overhangs in another booking. The Adelaide City fans, Mick, just did not know, did they then? But the flag was up.
No, it didn't, but the linesman did have his flag up very early, as you said.
As Murray exchanging passes, Terminello flag went up there.
It's very hard to tell, but yeah, it looks like he was running in an offside position there.
It was a good call.
It's a great finish by Murray in any case, though.
Well, an anticlimax for the Adelaide City fans. The break might be on. Cardozo almost undressed by Ivanovic there, and no call by Lennie. They got away with that. He nearly pulled his jersey off. Zorbas does well to hold his stride, hold the football, and that's all they need to do. Emerton will take it deep himself. Scotty Thomas. Tsekenis. Emerton will go against Kim. Well done by the Korean. Kept it on the mat. Again, Kim sweeps it upfield. First touch. Hassel is good for Manillo. Keeps it in play. Overfield. Oh, terrific by Thomas, who had to make up 10 or so metres. Came charging back and put Dino Manillo down on his backside. Oh, terrific stuff. We're at the Hindmarsh Stadium on the last day of the regular season, Mick.
We've got a turnaround in the Wollongong-Perth game. Wollongong 3, Perth 2. At Sydney United, Sharks, 3-1.
Well, you would have to say then, you wouldn't back the Sharks to score 3 in the last quarter of an hour or so. Adelaide City, the task is a little bit more palatable. They need one. Taladera. Oh, Kalantzis had a swing at that one errantly, and it's going to be an Adelaide ball because it happened after the play. Chris Kalantzis, who took the air shot and then infringed.
What I'm seeing here, Greg, all 10 players, Adelaide City in the attacking half. No sweeper.
Well, this is what we expected in the second half, and we knew it was going to be one-way traffic. It's just whether Olympic can weather this storm and perhaps get one on the break.
So the free kick, and there is a perfect shot of the free kick as you saw it. There's the Olympic wall. Spotted at about 3 or 4 metres inside the penalty area. Murray this time, low and hard. Away by the infringer, it was Kalantzis. Kim
Really got to start knocking in some quality balls.
And that's what it's all about. I don't think Sydney Olympic have allowed them to produce too much quality football, Paul Chilabir.
No, they haven't. They've closed it down wherever possible, and that's the game they had to play here. They had to come and close Adelaide City down and just keep men behind the ball. Keep players behind us so to force Adelaide City to make something happen and perhaps expose themselves at the back. And that's the way we're seeing the whole game being played.
A lot of supporters watching this game would probably feel cheated. No goals yet, but for supporters of Sydney Olympic, they will be thrilled on this roller coaster ride as Emerton wants to take it all the way home. Big Brett Emerton.
Looks like we're having a substitution here as well.
Well, we'll go down to you, Paul Chilabert. Have a look and tell us what's happening.
It looks like Olympia actually, I would say Adelaide City making their first substitution. Carle is coming on, and we're taking Dino Manillo off. So there's the tactical change we're looking at. Obviously a straight striker for striker, and obviously going to look for Carle's experience to make something happen in this game now.
Well, Dino Manillo, 100 games in the Ericsson Cup. Carle in his first season back after a stint overseas. It's his 160th appearance. He scored 59 in his career. He'd love a 60th under these sort of circumstances. Kim drilling the corner. I think Donkey Kong Kim has been exceptional since he's joined the game, Mick.
Yeah, he has. He's really stabilised Adelaide City.
And given him a bit of a target too.
Yeah. I still think they're slightly impotent going forward, Greg.
I wonder if there's such a thing as slightly impotent. We'll talk to someone about it. Oh, glancing header over the bar. Well worked. Corner that time.
I think it makes their first change for the game as well.
But now it will be intriguing to see, as we look at the corner again, Juric got himself free. It'll be intriguing to see what sort of tactical changes Olympic would look at implementing. Running the gauntlet of some severe physical challenges was Peter Zorbas. He didn't get a free kick.
It looks like Kalantzis will be coming off with the younger Miot coming on as well. So we'll have to see a change their makeup of the game, but you'd expect them to add a little bit more in midfield now, perhaps at this stage of the game.
Duraković, the ageless, the wonderful, the majestic. He went 1, 2, 3, and the final tackle from Milan Ivanovic was enough. Kim scoots clear over midfield. Well, he has shown the sense of urgency, perhaps, that one or two Zebra players were lacking early on. Credit this man, giving Adelaide City a lifeline or a spark. Adelaide City, their offense ranking 8th in the league so far this year, and they looked like it too so far tonight. A game that decides the season. Savaniak didn't get the clean shot. Thomas. Well, in the end, he did it well.
Solid game by Thomas today, Greg.
And he was certainly there. And the bruises were being handed out early. Quite happy to put his old club out of the playoff race. Oops, a daisy. Well, more confusion by the Adelaide players, because you saw Taladera looking at Costanzo, asking him where he was. He expected him to be there. Paul Chilabert, it's starting to become obvious that Adelaide City are scrambling, aren't they?
Well, it is. I mean, it's really starting to be a case of they're just trying to do everything they possibly can to get the ball forward, but Olympic are just blocking everything at the moment. You can see how hard they're all working. They're all moving off the ball, all trying to get ahead, as we can see an attack here happening now.
Kim again. He has been absolutely irrepressible down the left, and that is a free kick.
That's a very late tackle by Emerton.
He will live, but it is a free kick. Let's look again, Emerton.
Yeah, late tackle, but Kim, like you said, Greg, he's working that line.
Well, he didn't start in the game.
Is this the first timer, Lee Miot, Greg?
It is, well, my word. Joe, I tell you what,
that's
you want to have a gamble, don't you? You throw in a first gamer in a situation like this. We'll get Paul Chilabert to talk us through the change in just a minute. We've got this free kick though as Nicky Sabelyak lofts one. Bouhoutsos has to reach. Murray made it difficult, and the call goes against Damian Murray. Exchange of words. Bouhoutsos not happy about the challenge. Well, Georgie, baby, this is what's going to happen.
And he's received a yellow card.
We'll have to wait and see what that was for, whether it was for back chatting or he's used his arm in some way to charge the keeper or try and knock the ball in the net.
Who's getting booked, Bouhoutsos or Murray?
I think Damian Murray's got the booking there. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, he's trying to put his arm up. And it's been a straight change with Murray just going into the left wing position.
There's Damian Murray on screen. He scored 125, career third all-time goal scorer in the competition. But all he scored this afternoon or this evening is a yellow card. 13 this season, the league's top gun. Currently Pablo Cardozo playing against Murray this afternoon, or this evening again. It is fairly dark now. In the city of churches. And the Sydney Olympic fans will be, I'm no doubt, saying a few prayers now as we lurch into the last 10 minutes. Is Olympic about to go back to the playoffs for the first time in 3 years? But more importantly, we're seeing the dying embers of a dynasty that's ruled football, Ericsson Cup, National League for such a long time. Savaliak. Maladira. He waited and he waited, but he got Alex Tobin in the end, who gets forward. Kim, shock horror. Who's been terrific. 1, 2, 3, it went floating tantalisingly over the heads. Look at Branko Čulina on the bench. He is like a powder keg ready to explode. Veins popping out of his neck because he knew he was within a millimetre or two of conceding a goal. Branko Čulina, who's seen a lot of heartbreak when it comes to finals. But then look at Branko. Well, he's got beads of perspiration wiping them away. Not many stories, heartbreak stories, rank alongside him, who had that marvellous season with Sydney United 2 years ago. They took all before them, swept away everyone in the competition and got pipped on grand final day.
Well, what we're looking at here, Greg, is quite possibly one of the end of one of the great records of Australian football.
Yes,
with Adelaide City not making the finals.
Oh, look, it won't feel the same, will it?
No.
Manello steps past 2 tackles, high strutting. Kim. Savaliak, left foot, Savaliakis. Oh, that was so finely chosen, the shot. And Bouhoutsos, what
rose to the occasion,
George Bouhoutsos.
Rose to the occasion.
He had the spot. Look at the Adelaide bench, so close. He picked it perfectly, didn't he, Savaliak? He knew it was going. Look at this, gorgeous. And Bouhoutsos had to get the angle, turn the ball round the corner. Header by Tobin! It stands! It's good!
What can you say, Greg?
Oh boy!
How long to go, Greg? We've got a ball game on our hands.
I cannot hear a word! The roof is shaking on the grandstand at Hindmarsh Stadium. More out of relief than joy, I think, Mick.
Heck, how much football's left though, Greg? Now the game is going to take a turn.
Oh boy!
The Sydney Olympic now have to press.
We could have a problem down here with, I don't know if you noticed, but Dino Manillo has actually run onto the ground after the game. So we're going to have to see what Eddie Lennie's going to make of that situation.
Well, there's the goal again. Forgive me, because I really, genuinely cannot hear the Adelaide City supporters. But as you pointed out, I think Paul Shillabeth, Dino Manillo, who was on the bench, Mick, he ran back onto the ground.
That's right, he went out to celebrate with his players. And at the moment the Sydney Olympic players are remonstrating with the linesman about a foul they think it was on their goalkeeper.
I think what's happening is Sydney Olympic believe there was an infringement on Bouhoutsos as the goal went in. They're claiming a challenge. I don't know who the challenge was.
There's Eddie Lennie. Well, we've got to see the adjudication. The goal, that's booking against Scott Baillie.
Booking Scott Baillie because he was actually remonstrating with the linesman in a big way.
I'd like to see the challenge on Bouhoutsos. In all honesty, I thought he was infringed. Can we get a look at that on the replay?
Manillo will get a booking for running off the bench. Let's have a look at the goal
Alex
again.
Tobin has risen magnificently to pop it back into the area. Now here's where the controversy is.
Well, you can't pick something. There's nothing in the replay to...
Well, and who's the man? Carle?
Yeah, there's also another substitution happening at the moment. Nick Carle's coming on, and it looks like, Peter Zorbas is coming off at the same time. Well, this game's actually totally changed its perspective now. Now it's Olympic that have to make something happen.
It's now midday in Dodge City. They've got the 6 guns out. They've got the perspiring hands poised under the trench coat. And now they're going to fire some bullets and see who's standing in around about 6 minutes' time. Adelaide City lead by a goal to nil. The wall of noise which consumed the stadium, and I apologise to Paul Schillerbeer and Mike Peterson because I've not heard a word either of them have said. It's complete pandemonium here, and just as we rode off Adelaide City, they come back with the most critical goal you would think they will score all season. Baillie just in the book after that extraordinary post-goal celebration. Baillie lofts it long. They both have to come now. Well, Adelaide City don't, in fact. Well done by Veer. And he forced it through, but it was straight into no man's land.
And we can see from the change that Nick Carle's actually gone straight up into the right wing position at the moment.
All of a sudden, all the players are camped in Adelaide's defensive half.
Well, 7
How the momentum shifts in football.
Oh, you've got to feel for Branko. You've got to feel for Branko Čulina on screen. He's out there. His troops have done everything, mate. I really believe they played a good game under the circumstances. And it's not over yet. Well, they're taking it down to the wire at the Hindmarsh. Last game of the last round. Murray. He growls like a Ferrari if he's got some space. Great ball. Sabalyak can end it now. And he doesn't. Oh, sit me down somewhere. Boy, oh boy.
I tell you now, I just hope they don't ruin that chance. You look here, Carle Veer was wide open on the other side. He had a simple tap in to push that ball in the net.
That's right, Paul. He really could have played the percentages.
Prefers the left foot, Sabalyak. Hit it with the right. Wasn't a bad effort. Bouhoutsos the hero again for Olympic. It's 1-0 as another Olympic player goes in the book.
Mehmet Duraković.
There will be time added on. There will be a slab of time added on. We've played 42 in this second half. Adelaide City, unbelievably, lead by a goal to nil after you thought all may have been lost. The crowd sort of, I cannot believe, Paul Schillerbeer, the reaction of the crowd. I don't know if I'm sure you sensed it down there. It was an explosion of relief, wasn't it?
It had to be.
The noise was like an F111.
I think a lot of them had actually given up and were almost the heels all over, but no, that's not the way it's happened. But I've noticed an interesting change here. Ante Juric has been pushed up front to add for a target man here for Olympic.
An explosive closing quarter hour in this game that was always going to command such an important status. Oh, loose ball, reeled in. Viet can finish it. No, he can't. That was just lovely judgment in the end. Augerinos did all the hard work. It's out of play. And just keep a look at the time clock again. 43 and a second or two played in this second half. There must be, Mick Peterson, how many? 4 or 5 minutes at least added on.
At least, Greg.
Eddie Lennie, the man in charge, holding court in the cauldron that has become Hindmarsh Stadium with two teams, two proud teams, with their seasons on the line. Throw in Cardozo. Carle, one of the substitutes on. Well, he was swamped by Adelaide City players, and in the end he did well.
Well, this is always trouble, set pieces. Unfortunately for Sydney Olympic, they've got to switch it to attacking mode after playing 85 minutes of defensive and negating style.
Oh, you've got to love this game, don't you?
It's a beautiful game.
Vagaries,
We're just having here, we have 20 players in the last third of the ground at the moment.
Cardozo swings it in, bravely away by Murray. The danger's not there yet. Carle tried to force it through. Boom, into the air, into the night sky. Milan Ivanovic, that's all you needed.
Mehmet Duraković will probably just launch it.
Emerton, you cannot fault his contribution today. Tobin back, Baillie. Nuisance value, like a fly through a keyhole then. But to no avail. And all of a sudden, Peković doesn't have to strain to look for the options downfield. He doesn't have to get rid of the footy quickly. Miot, first gamer. Dream come true if his team can get a goal back. Still something to savour. Cardozo over the shoulder, blind. Tobin. This is going to be a scramble now to the final whistle. Maybe an unforced error. Maybe a moment of genius. Adelaide City, they're just holding on.
Just a quick point here. What the Olympic staff is trying to get hold of Juric to stay in the middle of the ground so they've got something to aim for, to keep pushing him up. He keeps wandering back up here and gets very much sent back into that penalty area.
Well, they really don't have any choice now but to pump it in the mixer and hope for a lucky fall.
Olympic have scored more goals in the last quarter of an hour of matches than any other club in the competition this year. They know how to come home with a head of steam. They get the corner. Olympic are the comeback kids of the competition in that respect. They score their goals late.
Here's something I've never seen before. Zoran Matić is up and standing inside his coaching area.
Very real. Oh, Emerton across the body. Emerton so close, so close. That might be game, set and match for Olympic for the season.
Struck that with some venom, Greg, but Peković up to the task.
I praised Emerton before, and I will again. I think his contribution's been wonderful today. Swept upfield by Ivanovic. Murray's there. He's got 1-2 in the middle. Duraković the man back. Off the outside. Oh, Viet couldn't stretch to me there. They could have nailed the coffin finally there. Well, this was the way it was going to end. A roller coaster ride to the finish. Lennie. There's the shot. Let's have a look at the Emerton chance.
Yeah.
That's when you're Adelaide City, mate. This is going to be a very tactical change. I mean, Damian Murray has been taken off for Mark Yates to come in and bolster that defence. So it's just been a game of totally different halves. I mean, it's just a total switch around from tactics from one team to the other. Now we're going to see how many times Adelaide City can probably catch them on the break.
And Damian Murray checks out, and Mark Yates, who passed his 100-game milestone. Good luck to him. The honest toilers of the Adelaide City team, Mark Yates. Hassel slides it crossfield. Terminello, first time is good. Viet, he had to check his stride. Thomas comes. They need a turnover here, Sydney Olympic, because Viet, showing his experience, he'll shield the football, he'll hang in there, and in the end forced over the line. Was the only thing they could do. We've played 3 minutes and 17 seconds of time added on for stoppages. Sands of time on the season are down to a few grains for Sydney Olympic. They were there for so long in this match. But now Adelaide City, should we be surprised that Adelaide City are on their way to the finals?
Again? I don't think they've ever left their run as late as this, though, Greg.
I would suggest that this was about as late as they've left.
The dynasty continues.
Well, you wonder how deep into the finals they can actually go. But just to be there 10 years in a row, I'll tell you what, there's a few clubs around the country who would grasp that opportunity. Lennie, he's done a good job. Zoran Matić having a look at his Mickey Mouse watch, Mickey's big hands. Be telling him there's not much time remaining. Surely to goodness, Lennie gets out of the way as the release from Thomas goes for Cardozo. Is there something left in the gas tank for Sydney Olympic, who themselves have spent 18 or 19 weeks from memory in the top 6? Their road record has been pretty poor this year. But they needed just a draw here. Tsekenis back to his goalkeeper, Bouhoutsos, who's had a marvellous game, George Bouhoutsos.
They've just got to launch it now, Sydney Olympic.
Well, the action on the bench is that the final whistle? Yeah, that is all over. And the dynasty continues under extraordinary circumstances in a match that was laboured, and
Olympic players are remonstrating with Lennie.
well, they will look at this one. They will look at this one again. Oh, brother. Adelaide City with a 1-0 win. Alex Tobin has scored 26 goals in 403 games. He got his 27th today with a header late in proceedings to edge Adelaide City into the finals for the 10th consecutive season. And the fans here at Adelaide City are breathing a collective sigh of relief. But, oh boy.
It was a hard stopper, Greg, in the end.
It's a poignant moment for Sydney Olympic. They came so
Well, there was
close.
a big expectation, though, Greg.
So close. Let's go down to the sideline to the skipper of Sydney Olympic, Peter Tsekenis, with Paul Sheila-Beer, and Pete must be feeling pretty darn shattered at the moment.
Yeah, Peter, you're obviously not feeling good about this year. You're not happy about the situation. It's just a hard way to lose a game and end the season, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a hard way, you know, where the season's over for us, but I thought we did enough tonight, but unfortunately, you know, I thought the goal was a bit iffy, but, you know, to go out like that is a bit disappointing for us.
Yeah, I thought you had the game in hand most of that time. I mean, it really didn't look like you were in any trouble. We had Adelaide City shooting from a long distance, and it's something like simple as that, and there's a question mark over whether it was a foul or not.
Well, you know, I can't say much about it. I don't want to say too much. It could get me in trouble, but I tell you, it cost us the season, and someone's got to look at it.
No, thanks very much, Peter. Appreciate your time.
And I just think it's terrific, Mick, that Peter Tsekenis took the time out to talk to us.